Hi, thanks for visiting the ASB TDC website and our online video resource library. Glad to have you here today. This is going to be the first in a three-part series called What Every Entrepreneur Needs to Know About Their Finances. And today we're specifically going to be addressing bookkeeping and records, the what, the why, and the how. My name is Scott Lacy. I'm an ASB TDC consultant. I specialize in finance. My email is there for you if you'd like to get in touch with me. We also offer one-on-one consulting, complimentary. Welcome to this program of the University of Arkansas Small Business Technology and Development Center. We're so pleased to be able to bring you these educational tools to help support small business. If you don't know about the Small Business Development Center, it's a one-stop shop for startups and existing small businesses. We're associated with the University of Arkansas and affiliated with the statewide ASB, TDC, and SBA. We're also part of a nationwide network of more than 1,000 small business centers. Locally, we offer complimentary one-on-one consulting and programs covering the relevant topics for business owners, and if you're not already a client, we encourage you to visit us at sbtdc.uark.edu and click Get a Consultation or email us at sbdc@uark.edu. If you'd like to get in touch, we do offer complimentary one-on-one consulting. You can just go to our website, sbtdc.uark.edu, and this is our homepage here, and you can go to the top right-hand corner and click Get a Consultation, and we'll be happy to get in touch with you just as soon as we get your information. It just takes about 5 minutes to register, and again, everything's complimentary. So now we're going to dive into our video today. It should just take about 8 to 10 minutes or so. It's entitled What Every Entrepreneur Needs to Know About Their Finances, Bookkeeping Records, the What, Why, and How. So first of all, we're going to talk about bookkeeping and just what it is in general. So bookkeeping, a lot of people don't really have a great idea of what it is just because not all of us have been in the finance or accounting world, but it's actually something just really, really simple. It's just the action of recording all of your financial transactions of your business. So basically it's just any time a transaction takes place, whether it's a sale or whether it's something you buy as an expense or you buy as an asset, it's just recording that information in a systemized and organized way so that you can keep track of it. Where this comes from, the word bookkeeping, before computers existed, companies literally just had books that had lines and lines and lines of information. Every time something happened, a transaction happened, somebody would manually record in that book the transaction that happened for that business. So it's a really simple term, nothing to be intimidated by. So why do we need to do bookkeeping? So we'd like to go over this because most of us don't go into business, and as a small business owner myself, former small business owner myself, I didn't go into business to do bookkeeping. Not all of us enjoy it, some people do, but most of us don't get into business to do bookkeeping. So sometimes it's hard to keep up with unless we know exactly why we need to do it, why it's a practice that we need to do regularly. So we've got some really good reasons listed out for you here about why we need to do bookkeeping, and I'm going to give you some examples. So first of all, the biggest reason is decision making and planning. It's really difficult, if not impossible, to make good decisions about your business and where to use your money and what products to make or whether or not to expand or get that new location or buy that vehicle or do this website or that website or get this financing unless you have really good financial data to help you make those decisions, because we really don't have anything to make those decisions based off of other than our gut and some experience unless we've got some real good financial data to back it up. And that financial data comes from the process of doing the bookkeeping. And just like decision making, we also use those records, we use that financial data that comes from the bookkeeping to do future planning, to do things like estimate how much inventory we might need to buy in order to cover our sales over a busy holiday period, or if we can afford to buy or how we can afford to buy a new location maybe in 6 months or a year down the road. Another reason is taxes. The IRS requires all businesses to file taxes every single year, and we can't file taxes unless we have our financial records, which come from bookkeeping. Another reason is loans. If you do want to get a new building one day, or if you do want to finance your inventory one day, and you need to go to a bank and get a loan, or a community lender and get a loan, or even sometimes your family members to get a loan, they're going to want to see financial records. And if you don't have those financial records, it's going to be really hard to get that loan, if not impossible. You also want to be able to monitor your business to kind of see how well you're doing. You want to be able to see, are your sales growing? Are your sales shrinking? Are your expenses growing? Are your expenses shrinking? Is your business adding value through paying off loans and mortgages and those kinds of things? It's really going to help you be able to monitor your business to track your progress and know how you're doing. Sometimes if you want investment in order to grow, or if you want to get a grant, you've got to have financial records in order to qualify for those. This year, with all of the money that the government was passing out with things like the Paycheck Protection Program, that was a kind of a grant. It was a forgivable loan that functioned like a grant. A lot of people were caught off guard when the government was asking for financial data in order to be able to qualify for some of those programs. And many people were 6 months to a year or even more behind on their bookkeeping, and so they weren't ready to pull the trigger, and they missed out on some opportunities to be able to get some grants. And if financial investors come along and want to invest in your business and are offering that to you as well, the last thing you want to do is take 6 months or a year to get that information to them. You want to be able to get them to it quickly and immediately, and you want to have it as well, so you'll qualify. Another reason is if you want to sell your business. This year was a year that a lot of people wanted to sell their businesses. And instead of that process taking a few weeks to a couple of months, many of them it took 6 months, even up to a year, in order to get that done, because they hadn't been doing their bookkeeping, they hadn't been keeping up with it. Another one is personal goal evaluation. A lot of us go into business because we want to provide for our families, we want to hit a financial goal for ourselves, and we're not going to know if we're trending towards those goals or able to reach those goals unless we've got financial data to track it. Another reason is liability. Sometimes if employees question if they're getting paid the right amount or not, or if the government's questioning whether you're paying the right taxes or not, or even the bank questioning whether or not you did pay or not pay that loan installment, you need to be able to have records to go back and prove that you did do that. And that all happens through bookkeeping and records, but through bookkeeping primarily, to make sure that you're recording that data. So there's liability. You also want to control your expenses. You can see how much you're spending on a regular basis. A lot of people think they know how much they're spending off the top of their head, but oftentimes when they really dig into their books and they find out that they're spending quite a bit more than they actually are. So it'll help you lose less money. And the last is it'll help you take advantage of tax deductions. Often, many of these expenses that we use for our businesses are tax deductible, but we can't deduct them unless we've tracked them through bookkeeping. So bookkeeping will actually help you save money in the long run. So lots of really great reasons why to do bookkeeping. So now how we do bookkeeping. There's a couple of options. You can do it yourself if you've got some experience and you got the drive to get it done. You can also hire a professional to do it. Usually you'll go to an accounting firm and hire an accountant, and that accountant will have a bookkeeper on staff, and you'll work out an arrangement with them. But you can do this yourself. Most of the time we do recommend a professional if you've not got experience in it. If you are going to do it yourself, you can use software like QuickBooks or Xero. It's online software that helps make the process a little bit easier. It's got everything set for you. Or if you're just a really simple business, just a really small business with 5 or 6 transactions per month, you can use a personalized method that you set up for yourself in Microsoft Excel or something like that. And the choice really depends on your size and capacity. If you've got hundreds of transactions a month, you probably want to use some kind of software, maybe hire an accounting firm or a bookkeeper. If you've got a background in accounting, you could probably do it yourself as well. Otherwise, we generally recommend people at least get set up with an accountant. And then the question comes up a lot, how often do I need to do this? Do I need to do it every day, every week, every month, every year? Well, the standard recommendation that we give people is to do it weekly. And actually the IRS standard as well is weekly. Even though they don't really have a regular enforcement mechanism on that, you only will typically see that in an audit where they really enforce that weekly bookkeeping. But that is the typical standard recommendation that we give to small businesses, because any more than that, you kind of lose track or get behind. You can do it monthly if you want to. Some people do. It usually requires you setting aside a full day of your time if you only do it monthly. And again, you just tend to not have as up-to-date information, and it's really easy to get behind. But the good news is a lot of the process of bookkeeping you can automate. So software like QuickBooks allows you to link credit card accounts. It allows you to link bank accounts. And so the software will actually import all of those transactions for you. and all you've got to do is go in and classify them. So you can automate it, in which case it would be happening all the time automatically with just a little bit of input from you on a weekly basis. So how to get started? First, just evaluate your needs. Look at how big your business is. Typically, we look at that in the number of monthly transactions or the size of some of those transactions. If you've only got 10 to 20 transactions a month, you can probably definitely do this yourself. But if you've got hundreds or thousands of transactions that you're doing every month, it's going to require a significant amount of your time. So you really want to take a good look at your own capacity, your own capabilities, your own time, and decide whether or not that's something you want to invest in. Usually entrepreneurs have a really great skill that they're good at, and they can give the most value to the business by focusing on that skill as opposed to spending their time doing the accounting. And usually if you do a little bit of a financial analysis, you'll find that you make a lot of entrepreneurs, as they're growing, will find that they actually bring in more revenue, and the business is healthier when they're focused on what they're good at and they outsource some of the bookkeeping, although you can do it yourself in the early stages. You can also just create your own process, or you can learn a program like QuickBooks or set up something in Excel. Usually when somebody is getting started with a new business, or if you've had a business for a little while but you're wanting to get it up to date, we usually recommend hiring a professional for at least a one-time cleanup or a setup session for their general ledger, just to get you started off on the right foot, get things cleaned up, and get going forward, so you can do it a little bit more simply on your own. Okay, so now we're going to get into records. So what are records? It's basically just all the records that relate to your business activities that you're legally required to maintain, or that it's just good practice or wisdom to maintain. So some quick examples: your tax returns, your payroll records, employee records, loans and payments, contracts, financial statements, or invoices or bills are all some examples of those. So why? First of all, legally, there's government regulations that you have to keep some of these records. The IRS has a legal requirement that everybody keep their tax records for at least 3 years, some businesses up to 5 years. Additionally, for some legal compliance things with your employees, there's legal minimum wage requirements. There's sometimes, vacation requirements, or, paid time off requirements, or, sick leave, or, family, pay the sick and family, whatever the act is called. I'm sorry, I can't remember. Those kind of things that you're required to keep track of. You want to make sure that you track them so that your employees can't come back later and say, well, you didn't pay me this, or you didn't give me this. You want to keep those records in order to ensure and to be able to prove in case of an audit or a lawsuit or some kind of dispute that you are operating your business legally and correctly. Financially, you want to keep your records so you can make sure that you're collecting money that you're owed. So if you provide a service to somebody before they pay you, you want to make sure you have a good invoicing system to make sure that you can go back and see which invoices have been paid and not paid. Also, if there are payments upcoming, whether they're lease payments or rent payments or mortgage payments or even vendor payments, if you're on a payment plan, you want to be able to keep those records to know when you're supposed to pay those things. Sometimes people pay their rent annually. You don't want to lose that lease contract. You don't want to lose that rent contract. If the landlord for some reason thinks that they are owed monthly, you want to be able to go back to your records and be able to show that you're in fact only under an annual lease, or sometimes a monthly lease if that's the case. Lastly, just from an operational perspective, keeping records clean and systematized and organized is just going to allow you to be more efficiently organized. So, your financial records is a great example. In doing your bookkeeping on a regular basis, when tax time does roll around, you're not going to spend two or 3 weeks trying to gather everything together in order to be able to file your taxes on time. If you just keep up with everything throughout the year, when tax time comes, click a few buttons, make a couple of phone calls, and your taxes are going to be done before you know it. Additionally, when it comes time to make decisions, sometimes you have to make those really, really quickly, and you just don't want to spend a lot of time, trying to find and organize everything that you need in order to make those decisions. You really want to try to have them quickly on hand. So how should you keep your records? First of all, make a plan. Give it some thought. Think about your business and what your business needs are. And make a plan, design a system so that when something new does come along, whether it's a new employee onboarding or a new lease on a new building, or a new investment in a new product, or any research that you have, or any legal things that you've got going on. You don't want to design a system when those things happen. You want to already have it in place so you can grab it, file it, put it where you know it's supposed to go, and you're going to have quick access to it and be ready to go, so you don't have to waste any time. Second of all, you want to have redundancies. You don't just want to keep one copy of the record on, stored on your hard drive on your computer. You really want to keep multiple copies. For some really important documents, you may want to have a safe on hand, or you may want to keep some things, even maybe in a safe deposit box at a bank. But you definitely want to have some kind of, external hard drive or online cloud backup system set in place. But you never just want to have one copy in one location of anything. You always want to have 2 to 3 copies in 2 to 3 locations to be as safe as you possibly can. So you've got digital options, you've got hard copy options, and you've got off-site backup options. So that's just a quick overview of bookkeeping and records. Again, if you would like to discuss bookkeeping or record keeping more in depth, we'd love to do a one-on-one consultation with you. Just go to our website at sbttc.uark.edu and go to the top right corner. Click that consultation button, and we would love to sit down and talk with you and see how we can help your business. Thanks for coming. We really appreciate all of you hardworking small business owners out there. Again, this is how you get in touch with me. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you again for joining us, and we hope this video was helpful. You can find more videos like these and more by putting sbttc.uark.edu in your browser, or connect using the QR code on the screen. You'll find a full listing of our events and educational programming. Our toolbox has valuable and timely information and access to other recordings of our webinars and workshops. If you're not already a client and you need to be assigned to a consultant to benefit from our complimentary consulting services, simply click on the Get a Consultation button or email us at sbdc@uark.edu. We also post valuable content on social media, so follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Thanks for being here. See you again.